I already see the headache coming into a factor as a fact. I mean, in a sense, I understand. Now, there's a little bit of a roughneck somewhere in my oldest daughter that might, come out here and there. She might.
Well, yes, because she likes to come out in dresses and get dirty while in a dress. So, right. I mean, she likes to look pretty, but she's not afraid to get dirty.
she's going to be that very prissy country girl. That's where she's going to be. She likes to say that she plays in the mud, but after she buys these $300 boots,
Right. Well, she has to take a shower before she goes plays in the mud.
Right.
I had a girlfriend like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the fact that I see that happening, and in your sense, there, bro, Uncle Bro, I guess I would just go with that. There's just the fact of daughters are very, very complex, and I don't see much of that complexity with my youngest because she's very, very easy-minded. I can't say simple because her imagination is very, very wide, but she's very my oldest, I guess I can say, she's already starting to establish a very complicated personality in the sense of she's very conflicted on how she wants to be. I mean, obviously, if you know her longer than 5 minutes, you could tell, oh, yeah, she's going to be a very pretty girl in school and stuff like that. But, it's the fact that there's nothing really for me to do except to accept it. I mean, I can kind of work with it a little bit, say, hey, listen, why don't we go play in the mud for a little bit? Let's, get rid of some of that nail polish and have a little bit of fun underneath of a car. But, it's the fact that you got to adjust to what your children want, in a sense. I mean, mom could say the same exact thing, I want to be outside, Brian wants to be inside. Depends on which one asks for her attention first, If there's not a compromise to work it out, she'll say, well, can't do either one of them then, So, you just gotta just work with them 100%. If they want to go, if your daughter calls you up and says, hey, let's go shopping, and you really, really, really didn't want to go shopping, guess what? You're going shopping, dude. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, considering that I actually have children that are males that like to shop.
I love shopping. It's great.
The only benefit in that is that
we
when
get to go out and lunch.
Well, we do, because that's how shopping works for me. And we tell that, we'll go look and then go eat, and life is complete. But in the opposite sense, it helps during holiday whenever it comes time for me to buy gifts. I call up the bestie, which is the oldest son, and say, hey, would you like to go shopping? And hey, buy your Christmas gift and be shocked when you open it Christmas Day, okay?
Perks of being the other parent now, being a parent, I'll be like, oh yeah. And
nice.
It's an extraordinary experience, being a parent for in a daughter sense, because both my daughters, I don't know if in a sense like boys are the same way, but both my daughters, they are very overexcited with things that they want. Like my youngest, she just got a book bag because she's going to be starting a pre-K Head Start in this coming month. So she just got a brand new book bag to get her started for school and everything like that. And it's got her favorite cartoon characters on it and everything like that. And she will not stop talking about it. I swear to you, you walk into my house, that will be the first thing that she will say to you. I have a book bag from my school. It has Shimmer and Shine on it. I love it. You cannot touch it. Like, it is her prized possession. It is sitting on my door. It has not moved. No one is allowed to touch it. Katrina was not allowed to open up the closet door to put her shoes in there. Zoe had to open the door because the book bag is hanging on my door. Like, there's just... There's just some things that, I've noticed that daughters just get really super excited about. And if it is their possession, and if it is their prized possession, they will hold on to it with absolute, sentimental value. It is theirs. Me, on the other hand, there's not too many material things out there that I hold in absolute sentiment. There are things that I require to keep my day rolling and keep myself happy. But if I would happen to lose them, my day would not end in absolute agony. I mean, I am not that sentimental of a person. I don't find the need to be that sentimental.
Give me your phone.
I'm on it right now.
I mean, if you're not sentimental, you can give it to me.
There's things I require. I need my phone.
Oh, okay.
You want my Xbox? You can have my Xbox.
No. Because I don't know how to play it, and then when I actually do play it, I get seasick.
Seasick, right. But, there's just things that, I notice with daughters that are just, it's an extreme in a sense. Children they grow up similar, but there are certain extremes with the gender that are just outstanding. Like girls, even if you're a tomboy, like my youngest is going to be, she still has her ucky moments. She had an ant on her finger. And she's like, look at the little ant. I said, yeah, it's a bug. It's a little ant. She's like, ew, 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 get it off me. I'm like, you just put it on your finger. Now you're going to get grossed out about it? Like, it's just radical extremes. I mean, as a boy, you might eat a worm. Who knows? I don't know any guys who haven't actually ate a bug at some point.
I don't know anybody who hasn't eaten a bug at some point.
But
stand outside for a minute.
Well, yeah. But, like actually dig in the dirt, grab a worm, and be like, I wonder if I can eat this. A girl...
Did you eat a worm?
Me?
Yeah.
I've eaten a worm, yeah. It was gross. I would never do it again. I remember the experience. It was not a pleasant one. It was not something it tasted like dirt, and it was squishy. That's all.
I have a feeling I can almost guarantee that if I ask the same question of your brother...
Oh, he has not eaten a worm, I guarantee you. He hasn't even dug his fingers in the dirt long enough to find a worm.
So, there are differences. It really depends upon your inside and out,
Yes. I mean, like I said with my two daughters, I mean, there are certain extremes, but there's to a level. It also depends on who you are and how you raise your kids. I feel like my youngest daughter might actually eat a bug on purpose and actually say it's good. She finds everything good. There's very few things that she doesn't like to eat. Unless she doesn't want to eat it at all.
That's great.
So, yeah.
I know where I'm going now for my daughter raising advice. I know now where I'm going to go for advice.
It is still a learning experience for me. I mean, my daughter's being only 5 and 4. I cannot even begin to imagine what it's going to be like for the teen years. I try to plan for it, and being a male, I can only plan for so long. It's like trying to get them to clean the room. It's just, you can never get it to be clean.
Ever?
Alma. I asked her to clean her room today. She went upstairs, put 2 toys away, and then went back to playing. And then when we came home today, I realized that her room was an atrocious mess. I looked at her and said, why is this room not clean? She's like, I was playing. I said, couldn't I ask you to clean the room? She said, yeah. I said, why didn't you? She's like, because I like playing and I don't like cleaning my room. All right, we'll talk about this later. Go to bed. So,
wow.
yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I can't say the same thing. My room was never clean. Ever. Mom can
for
testify.
sure.
Yeah, Mom can testify to that one. I'm pretty sure there's a few pigsties out in the world that were a whole lot cleaner than my room. What is your guy? Well, I know yours, Mom. I pick Uncle Bro's hearing here for a little bit. What is your perspective on a co-parenting situation? You know, having the aspect of having both parents, both being separated, working together to cooperate to raise a child. Do you feel that it has a negative impact or a more positive impact?
That's a good question. Sis, why don't you start off with that?
Well, you go ahead and talk about that for a second there, bro. I would like to actually see your point of view. It'd be very interesting.
Well, I don't know what my point of view is yet. I need some help here. That's why I was fishing. I'm looking for a lifeline.
I know that there are negative side effects to a separated family that could cause for a child's growth, that could cause for complications when they get older, as far as attention or even attitude towards certain things, and most importantly, a trust situation. Building a trust rapport with someone else now is going to be a little bit more difficult because the two figures of absolute trust and loyalty that is supposed to be there at all times are currently separated. You know what I mean?
Right.
Getting your input on that fact, how does your daughter see you as a trustworthy father figure? How much trust can she truly place in you? And, where do you feel on that aspect of how other parents who are in a similar situation, working with each other to raise a child, whether it be, as young as mine being 5 years old or all the way up to, teenagers or even in their 20s like yours is? How do you feel that certain parenting aspects, co-parenting, should be affected or how they are affected as a child's growth?
Well, you gave me a good explanation and enough time to throw out an initial thought. So the initial thought for me is that the biggest way, there's so much discord and strife that is present in broken family situations that to me seems to be the major danger, is that the discord and strife from the relationship not working out sort of tends to transfer into the raising of the child, and if the parents are not careful, both of them or one of them can start to sort of point the child at the other parent and sort of like weaponize them and try to turn them against them and try to make those things happen. And my own thought and feeling on this is that the only way for sanity is to not do the same. I mean, if the other person is determined to weaponize the child and turn them against you, there's absolutely no way this is improved by you doing the same thing, for example. So, it's much better to, there's really nothing you can do. If they're determined to turn the child against you, they probably will. And you sort of have to make peace with that possibility. The worst thing to do would be to respond in kind.
Right, because that only just shows the child that they're not truly a child anymore. They're just more of a tool and a weapon, and that trust, the attitude, and all of that just becomes a reflection. They're no longer able to grow in the nurture aspect, as we were beginning in this first, conversation, or the beginning of this conversation, the nurture and, nature, everything like that. The nurture no longer is, available then. It's just nature taking its course, because you turn them into a weapon, and that's the way that they're going to act. And I'm blessed with the fact that I don't have to worry about that situation.
All right, great perspectives on both parts. You guys really kind of hit some good pieces of that parenting styles, and how one thing that I'm always saying in group, and I'm always saying to my clients, is that you can never, ever, you can't control what others do. The only thing you have control over is what you do and how you respond and act to a situation. And you can come at it with open mind. You can come at it with wanting to work things out. And if the person isn't open to that and ready to deal with that, you're not going to be able to get through it. But the way you act and the way you respond and how you deal with things is going to make a difference on other people's lives. And it will get noticed, and it will make a difference. And
it may not be immediately, but it will happen eventually.
Correct. And since, like I said, since you can't control whether someone else will do that, all you can do is say, I'm not going to do that. And you can have that person. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make my child a weapon. I'm not going to decide that this is going to happen just because someone else is doing that. And you just find skills, coping skills, and ways to adjust whenever you do get that child, to show them a different perspective without berating or making that other parent look bad, because then they actually, when they grow up and they start to understand more, they will understand that point of view that you were trying to say. Oh, no time did I ever hear this, that, or that, but you still tried to show me love in the way that you did. So that's the important pieces.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the lesson that you taught me, from the very beginning. That was the one thing you always said, you only control what you can do. I mean, that's as basic as you can get to it. Other people will do their things 100% all the time. And as much as you would like to be able to influence them, even with my children, and even with anybody's children, though they are your children, your choices on how you react to them and how you wish to help them, in a sense, they're still going to do their own thing. So it's the matter that people have to make up their own minds, and people have to make up what they want to do. If they want to be spiteful and weaponize children and turn them against the other partners and stuff like that, that's their choice. All you have to do is stand your ground and say, listen, this is how I'm going to be, and I'm not going to do the same thing that you're doing, but I'm still going to be there for my child as much as I'm going to be able to do.
Yeah, and that's an important piece, and that's a huge piece to take away, because children, they're pretty bright, and they can see these things, and they can see, okay, well, this parent is doing it because of this, and this parent's doing it because of that, and they're going to get that. They're going to see those pieces. They're not just going to go and, a lot of the times when they become weaponized, they know, and they understand it, and they feel it, and they don't like it, and because they don't want to have to choose, because they love their parents, regardless of they're in the same house, regardless if they're in different houses. They love their parents. They love their mommy. They love their daddy, and they're going to see that. And if that other parent chooses not to go down that path, then they're going to see that, and they're going to learn and grow, and they're going to make their own decisions on how they want to deal with that. Yeah, will it not have its moments of imperfections and discord, but most of the time, after they get through that moment, they're going to talk it out with themselves. You know what I mean? They're going to decide that, hey, I don't have to choose because that parent told me I don't. So that's what they need to hear, and sometimes it's good for them to hear. You don't have to choose between Mommy and Daddy. Mommy and Daddy love you both. Mommy and Daddy will love you differently in different ways, but you will still get love.
It's important to have both parental love, in a sense. You have to have attention from both your parents. You can't just have, mom's attention. You can't just have dad's attention, because there's things that, moms can help with their, nurturing and support, and there's some things that dads can help as far as firmness and structure, depending on the situations. There's just, they can only provide half of the puzzle. And to weaponize a child against one of the parents is weaponizing the child against half of their development. And they will only grow in half of what they need it to be.
True. I mean, you do have to keep in mind that in certain situations, if we want to generalize it instead of personalize it, there are going to be times where one parent is it. There is no other view. There's no other, nothing else in the picture. And so that parent becomes the mom, that parent becomes the dad, and everything that goes with it, including the firmness and the loving and the nurturing. So each individual and each family core is very unique, and it's very different, and and it has to come at it at a different perspective. An important piece of any type of family counseling is to ensure that that parent knows that that individual caring or individual way of how the life of that child is being raised is theirs. It's individual. And there's no perfect way to do it. There is no perfect pill in parenting. Yes, there are standards and suggestions and options and how-to books how to do those things. But there's also, that just old-fashioned try it and see what happens kind of deal. And it really depends on the individual family core.
Right.
And
who your kid is and who you are.
Exactly. And I really think that that's hugely important in any kind of family, and how they need to grow and develop and become the core that they're going to be. And that will follow through. And parents are going to make mistakes, and parents are going to falter. Parents, and when the kids get old enough, are even going to turn around and go, sorry, I messed up. Let me try it again. And sometimes, in a previous discussion that Bro and I have had before in other shows that we've done, we've talked about that whole, you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to tell your kids you're perfect, that you can have that, kind of conversation. And it actually makes the kid kind of know that they can make mistakes too, because guess what? My parent just made a mistake, but if I make a mistake, I also have to take responsibility for it, because look, my parent took the responsibility, and the parents got to swallow their pride sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
They can't be, oh, well, that's just the way it is because I said so. They have to be able to swallow their pride and know that, oops, made a mistake, rewind, let me try this again.
Right.
Right. And that's good parenting right there, because then you're teaching your kids responsibility. Because
you're teaching them to own up.
Right. You have to teach them responsibility for their actions. And if you never take responsibility for your action as a parent, how are they ever going to learn?
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge, and that's important, and that makes differences in the development of your children and how they will view things. if you, in a very broad general view.